Hello friends, welcome back for some more remote Kinstretch with the Fitness Alchemists. Today we are doing a shoulder and elbow focused class, and you will need some objects. So you will need something that is a taller, longer dowel-like object, so a broom or a Swiffer handle works really well, or a leftover oversized candy cane from last holiday season, because you probably have that lying around. You will also need a shorter dowel-like object. This could be a wooden spoon. This could be a dustpan, an object that has a comfortable handle for your hand to hold and can be, what's the word I'm looking for? Off balance, right? So that you'll have a little more weight on one side away from where the hand is to aid your rotational adventures. So grab those things. We're going to start with our long object, long dowel, broom handle, what have you. And we are going to just use it as a tension aid as we go through our shoulder CARs. I'll have Will turn slightly to the side here. You can face front. So you're going to use that long object to press down into the ground with your one arm, and then your free arm is going to go through the shoulder CAR, cutting across the body, externally rotating, coming towards the ear, getting as much rotation as you can, and keep rotating all the way back down. When you arrive at the hip, rewind, and come all the way back around. We're on the clock for these, friends, so I want you to find your 1 mile per hour pace of that shoulder CAR, and make sure you've got a nice amount of tension braced through your body. So nothing is moving except that moving arm. And this is really your chance to check in, have a little shoulder diagnostic moment with yourself to feel which parts of my shoulder CAR feel sticky, smooth. Is there any pain points that I'm not used to finding? We're going to skirt those, especially if they're in the closing side, right? Last 15 seconds, wherever you land, you can pause. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Fabulous. Okay, switch the dowel to the new hand. Use that as a tool to create tension, so pressing into the ground. You can have a bent or a straight elbow. See what helps you connect tension in through your midsection the best. That's really the goal. And then free arm starts to carve through that slightly denser than normal air. This doesn't need to be your most high tension shoulder CAR. We are going to do this same movement later in the class as a little bit of a retest for you so that you can notice what has changed with the inputs from class. So as you go through your first set of shoulder CARs here, really just be a keen observer. What sensations do you notice? What limitations do you notice? Where do things feel smooth and groovy? Lots of control. Where do things feel invisible or sticky? Breathing in there somewhere. Last 15 seconds. Check back in with your body tension. Should feel like a standing plank as you're moving that arm through space. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wherever you are, let that go. Nice. So then you're going to grab your shorter object. You can set your long object to the side. And we're going to warm up our elbow, a piece of our elbow CAR, which is just the ability to rotate. We often think of elbows as just flexing and extending. I tried to say flexion and flexing at the same time. Just flexion and extension, but there is a rotational component. So you're going to hold your object such that it's longer on one side, on the outside of your body than the inside. You're going to use your other hand to help you feel that your upper arm doesn't move. So you can touch the inner elbow. You can put on a full-on hand on your bicep. You can also tuck that elbow into your body if it feels good to nestle it there. And then you're going to see what your ability is to rotate the lower arm, so everything from your elbow down, with nothing above the elbow moving. We're on the clock for this one. Rotating as much as you can in one direction. Make sure you're coming to a complete stop, and then rotate in the opposite direction. Good. And just check in here. Sometimes Stuff will volunteer up in the neck shoulder region. We're trying to just find what are the tissues that actually produce rotation of the lower arm relative to the upper arm. And if this is a spot you don't train a lot, probably other things are going to volunteer because your body's like, I don't know how to do what you're asking. So we just have to practice. Asking for it is the first step. Last 3, 2, 1. Bookmark that idea. We're going to come back to it. Switch on over to the other side. So that longer side of your short object is sticking out to the side away from you. You can squeeze the handle to give yourself a little bit more tension and irradiation. Some strategy to keep the upper arm still, and then rotate that bottom arm. Back and forth. Whichever direction you started in was great. Again, we're working for time here, so you don't need to match Will's pace or range of motion. I really want you to get curious about what your range of motion is. You might have much more than Will is expressing. You might have much less. You might have much more in one direction or the other. You've got 15, just slightly under 15 seconds left. Coming to a dead stop at the end of your motion, where you're absolutely sure that you're trying to get more, but you're unable to get more. And rest. Beautiful. Switch back for your long object. It's a props class. Prop queens. And we're gonna do a little variation on our hip CAR. So you're going to start with your dowel directly in front of your armpit on one side, and then you're going to bring your other leg across so that the arch of your foot touches the inside of that dowel. Now take a moment here before we get going with the motion to set yourself up for success and solidify your body so that standing leg is strong, midsection is braced. Again, you can press the dowel into the floor. And then you're going to see how high you can slide the inside of your foot up that dowel, bringing your hip into as much flexion and external rotation as you personally can, and then just slide it back down with control. Good. We're on the clock here. Sliding up. And sliding down. If it feels like balance is getting the better of you, pause the video and place yourself somewhere in your house where you could put your free arm against a wall or on a chair, back of the couch, what have you, just so that you take that balance element out of the equation and you're able to focus. So many word fun times today. Focus on your hip control. You'd think it was Friday, but it's only Wednesday. Rest. Good. Now, take that stick just a little further out to the side, couple of inches. This is going to really challenge your hip control. Once again, solidify your standing leg. Get the arch of your foot to touch the dowel, and then see how high can you raise the foot. It's going to be different and probably less this time. Oh my gosh, and then slowly back down. Now, help yourself out. Good abdominal brace, super strong standing leg. The standing leg that's not moving should feel like it's working just as hard, actually harder than the moving leg, so that you are a muscly statue off of which that moving hip can work. 3, 2, 1. Spicy. Nice. So now you're going to switch your dowel to the other side, and you're going to bring it, so this is an option to play with. Easiest would be kind of right in front of that armpit. It's going to get harder the further out you work from there. So I want you to find the place where you feel very challenged, but you're still able to get some up and down movement of the same leg we were just working. So again, arch of the foot goes onto the dowel. Your other hand can touch something for stability. Get solid in that standing leg, and then try to bend the knee, slide the foot up the dowel any amount, trying to get as much of your inner thigh stuff to show off as possible, and then back down. Nice. You're on the clock. Keep finding your own pace with those slides. Gathering more tension through your non-moving parts than through that moving leg to buy that hip a little bit more freedom. Woo-hoo-hoo. Hip spice. You're doing great. 3, 2, 1. Zow. Spicy inner thigh goodness. Okay, so then you've got your dowel in the right arm for the other leg. So you're gonna start directly in front of your armpit, that kind of medium spot. You're gonna bring your other arch of the foot around, set yourself up for success by getting solid in your standing leg and your midsection, stabbing the floor. Other hand can go on something for stability, and then start to raise that leg as high as you can, sliding your foot up the dowel as high as you can, and then back down. Nice. Really think that you're leading with the arch of the foot. If possible, if you were really good with your hip external rotation, you might be able to get your foot higher than your knee. Maybe like Cirque du Soleil peeps who really train their hip external rotation and have a lot to begin with. But that idea of hacky sacking or sliding the sole of the foot higher than the knee is going to help bias more external rotation, which is really what we're aiming for here. And rest. Good. Take that dowel slightly away from your body, a little further, and then bring the sole of the foot to the dowel. Solidify, strong standing leg, braced midsection, and start your slides. Sole of the foot climbing as high as it can, coming to a complete stop, and back down. Good. Make sure you're breathing. We want a nice brace here, but I do want you to be able to breathe above that brace. Breathing to fuel your work. Nice. Having that same idea that you could twist, slide the sole of the foot a little higher than the knee. 3, 2, 1. Zow. Good. Switching your dowel to the other side, holding with the opposite hand. So take a moment to reorient yourself if you need to get your hand on something solid for balance, that free arm. And then same leg that was working before, arch of the foot onto the dowel. Now here, there's going to be a temptation for the belt buckle to turn towards the dowel side. I want you to take a moment to square it forward, straight ahead, so it's lined up with your bottom foot pointing forward. Solidify and begin. Sliding the arch of the foot as high as you can up the dowel and back down. On this one, you can think of trying to scoop the pinky toe side of your foot to make more contact with the dowel as you slide up. Yeah, and that'll help you bias a little bit more of that external rotation. Yes, delightful, as you can see in Will's face. 5, 4, doing so good. 3, strong standing leg. 2, 1, let that go. Zow. We're not doing a lot of hips today, so we wanted to get that in for you. Okay, now you can be standing or tall kneeling. We'll come down to that tall kneeling position. And let's scoot forward a little bit, Will, since we can for this one. So give them a little bit closer look. You're going to grab your short object. You're going to hold it once again so that you have length on one side, shortness in the hand. We're going to work on some capsular CARs for the shoulder. So I want to think of this motion coming from the shoulder joint. We'll work for time, so we'll just do a couple reps here so you can get the idea of what we're doing, and then we'll do it all together. So just give me one each way. So we're rotating that arm, rigging out as much as you can then from the hand once you're done with the shoulder, and then back the other way. Rotate, trying to get as much as you can from the shoulder, and then of course we'll be able to express more from the wrist. Yes? So starting all together, nice and upright, brace your midsection. Whether you're standing or kneeling, pinch the floor like your knees have been super glued to the floor, ramp up a good amount of body tension, and then from that shoulder joint, rotate so that your object tips out to the side. When you run out of range of the shoulder, keep twisting, come into that dead stop, and then opposite way. You're on the clock here. What I'd like you to feel into as you're doing this rotation, what muscles near to the shoulder help to rotate your bicep or your upper arm in either direction? What's squeezing to pull you into rotation, to hold you there in both directions? Again, if you're practiced at these, you'll click into that right away. If this is your first time doing it, that might be the main thing you focus on for the class today. And rest. Beautiful. Switch sides. Yeah, let's angle a little bit here. Perfect. Okay, great. So set yourself up for success once again by creating a good brace, pinching the floor, nice butt squeeze, and then you're going to rotate from the shoulder. Think bicep, twisting in shoulder socket as much as you can in one direction, and then as much as you can in the opposite direction. Good. And Will's doing an excellent job of this, but one thing you'll want to watch out for at home, as you run out of rotation, your shoulder blade might try to hike. And you'll feel your neck kind of disappear on that side. So if you need to, yeah, there's a good one. If you need to, you can take your other hand and just bring it on to that general area to give you a little bit of extra awareness, tactile awareness. What muscles are pulling my upper arm bone into rotation in my shoulder socket? 3, 2, 1, and relax. Very nice. Okay, fabulous. So next, we're going to go back to our long object. And again, you can stand here. I'm going to keep Will tall kneeling just for sake of transition. And you're going to bring the dowel right to your collarbone. And then the elbows are going to be fairly close into the body, about armpit distance. From here, we're going to bias a little bit of that external rotation by inching the hands out as much as you can, trying not to let the elbows widen too much. From there, you're going to trap that dowel with your chin to your collarbone. So Will's doing a nice neck tuck to trap that dowel, so the dowel can no longer move. And then just watch one and then we'll go together. The move is going to be to try to drive one elbow forward such that more rotation happens through that arm, and then bring it back down at a time. Good. So set yourself up here, hands inched as wide as they can be, tuck that chin to trap your dowel, and start alternating your elbows. One at a time, driving forward, fighting for a little bit more lift, and back down. You're not going to have too tight of a grip on the bar here because you want to let your grip rotate on that dowel or that broom handle, what have you. Thinking of what's in your hand as a pivot point. Good. You might notice really different range on one side to the other. Again, we're trying to keep the shoulder blades quiet on the rib cage. Last 10 seconds. Breathing in there somewhere. Checking in on your full body brace. The more tension you have through the non-moving parts, the more strength you can drive to the tissues we're sending. And the more clearly you'll be able to signal to your body, these tissues, not just anything I can use. 3, 2, 1. Fantastic. So exciting. Okay, and then from here, we're going to get into a little elbow flexion. This might look familiar, but by a different name. So you're going to grab a comfortable seat. If you'd like, you could sit on a chair or the edge of a couch here and have your feet planted and your knees bent if this position free on the floor doesn't feel good. The main thing is that you want to have your long dowel underneath your thighs, somewhere that's fairly comfortable. So you can pick a kind of meaty spot so you can grab on nice and strong. Wherever your feet are, you're going to drive them into the floor so that you've got a nice strong feeling there. So that when we start to engage our isometric effort here, you're going to be trying to pull the dowel up through the knees. The legs are going to allow no movement to happen. So we have a nice isometric go nowhere contraction. Sitting up as tall as you can, create a good brace through your midsection, and then start to try to close the elbow joint very gently, starting at just about 10% effort. As much as you're trying to close your elbow joint, I want you to drive your feet down so you have oppositional tension. You're going to feel this flow of tissue along the arm engage, then start to ramp that up to 20%, 40%, 60%, and hold. We're going to do a nice 15-second hold at 60%. Make sure your midsection's still braced, your feet are driving to the floor. You can crush that long dowel-like object in your hands. 3, 2, stay in position. 1, slowly fade that contraction back down. Good. Keep your setup. The only thing we're going to change is that the hands are going to now hold palm down rather than palm up. Try the same idea, slowly ramping up that isometric attempt to bend the elbow, but the legs allow no motion. So reinvest, sitting up tall, whatever position you're in, bracing your midsection, driving your feet into the floor. Gently start to try to bend the elbow. So the dowel puts pressure up into the legs, finding 20%. Gradually ramping up to 40%. 60%, and hold. Maintain. Breathe. Send help. Is your midsection as braced as it can be? Are your feet driving to the floor as hard as they can for 3, 2, 1. Slowly fade that away. Fantastic. We're going to run back through those last 3 exercises for another set. So you can come back to tall, kneeling, or standing with your short dowel. We're going to go back to that shoulder rotation idea, but we're going to add on a little bonus this time. So give me a nice brace through your midsection, short object in hand, shoulder blade quiet on the rib cage. Start to rotate that upper arm as far as you can into external rotation. So your object's dipping out to the side. Now pause here. Keep the upper arm rotated that way. From the elbow down, you're going to try to twist in the opposite direction. As much as you're able to, woo, and then bring it back. Keep that upper arm locked into external rotation. So everything from the elbow up, still trying to rotate outward. Now just that elbow is rotating back and forth as much as you're able to. Might be significantly less than you had when we just did our isolated elbow CARs. Certainly was for both of us. And again, can you click into the feeling? What keeps the shoulder in rotation here? Good. Now pause. Rotate the whole arm internal. So long arm of the object pointing in across your body. Camp out there. Really commit to keeping your upper arm rotated internally. And then from the elbow down, see what's available to twist to the outside. Coming to a complete stop and then bringing it back. This one I think is universally a little harder for folks, keeping that upper arm turned in and trying to just rotate the lower arm out. So do your best. Again, if this is your first time with this move, it might feel like I'm asking you to pat your belly and rub your head at the same time. Try it again in a couple days. Your body will adapt to the task. One more here, out. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, nice work. And back in. Fantastic. I know, so much focus. Okay, new side. Reinvest in your body brace. Get as much external rotation as you can of the whole arm. Keep the upper arm rotated that way, and then try from the elbow down to express as much internal rotation as you can. Good. You're going to go back and forth, rotating the lower arm only, keeping the upper arm turned out. And you can see Will has his hand on his chest here. That's a great place to give you some extra feedback. You could also experiment with giving yourself encouragement into external rotation on that upper arm. Your external hold is not going to be strong enough to force you into the right rotation, but it can remind you, it can bring more awareness if that spot is moving. Good. And now whole arm moving together. Internally rotate. Wind up as much as you can get. Pause here. Feel into what are those shoulder muscles that are keeping me internally rotated? Can I keep those switched on? And then can I rotate from my elbow down without changing what's going on from my elbow up? Helpful things here, squeezing that object that's in your hand. That will automatically give you more neurological drive, more strength, more juice to work with. Last 5 seconds here, wringing out that elbow down rotation while keeping your upper arm internally rotated without any hike of the shoulder blade. You're doing great. This is tough. 3, 2, 1. Yowza! Okay, what's next? Front rack. Grab your long object. Again, this can be done standing or half kneeling. Walk your hands out. And this is another diagnostic moment. You might find that your body is willing to give you a little bit more room into external rotation just from having done some extra rotational work for the shoulder. So elbows stay fairly close in, hands walking as wide as they can. Tuck the chin to pin that dowel to your chest, brace your body, and then working for time, drive one elbow forward as high as you can and back down. Imagine leading with the inside of your elbow. Almost like you're trying to show off that under bit of your arm that leads into your armpit. Maybe you got a special tattoo there, or you put a fun sticker on it. We really need stickers.
Temporary tattoos.
Ooh, temp tattoos. Or just like a gold star sticker. That's what I was thinking. You're doing great. You're on the clock. Keeping that dowel pinned right at your collarbones. Check back in that you still have tension through your body, that your shoulder blades are staying on your ribs. Can you reach that inner elbow forward? Show it off a little more to the sky. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax. Very nice. Okay. Coming back to your seated position with the dowel under the knees for isometric elbow flexion. So again, you can be seated up on a chair or on the floor. Whichever position you're in, dig your heels into the ground and make your legs strong and solid so they can provide some good resistance. Palms are facing up for our first one here. Sitting up as tall as you can through your spine. Pack some air down, get a good abdominal brace, and then start trying to close your elbow like a bicep curl. Just 10%, ramping up to 20%. 40%, 60%. Make sure your whole body is matching that 60% effort. This time we're going to crank it up to a nice 80%. Good, and hold. 15 seconds here, gang. You're doing so well. Curl. Visualize yourself pulling that dowel right to meet your shoulders. 5, 4, 3. Make sure you're breathing. 2. Stay in position. 1, slowly fade that away. Come back to relaxy, which is a technical term widely used in the fitness industry, and then flip your palms over. Palms facing down, nice strong grip on the dowel. Elbows pretty close into your sides so you're not flaring out to the side. Sitting up tall, digging your feet into the ground. Start gentle, working your way up to 20%, attempting to bring your knuckles towards your shoulder. Ramping up, 40%, 60%. Feet are still heavy. 80%. Hold. Good. Breathing around that brace. Whole body engaged. Scan as you're in this hold. Are there any muscles that could come up to that 80% level and send help to this tissue I'm trying to train? 3. Maintain. 2, 1, slowly dial that down. Fade it away. Very nice indeed. All right, my friends. Last but not least, we're going to retest our shoulder CAR. I'm going to ask Will to do this from quadruped position, which is going to be not exactly the same as what we did in the warm-up, but will force a little more tension into the movement. Quadruped's not groovy for you for any reason. You can stand, plant your dowel just like we did in the warm-up. So we're going to go 1 minute each arm, an honest minute. And my challenge to you, especially if you're familiar with shoulder CARs, is to try to give me a near max effort shoulder CAR and see what's going on with that tension signal really turned up. So in quadruped, we have this great opportunity to brace, make the midsection heavy. I should be able to balance a glass of water on Will's upper back and not spill as he moves. Heavy feet, knees into the floor, and heavy right arm into the floor. We're going to move that left arm. Ready? and go for it. 1 minute, honest minute on the clock. Your job is to make sure this feels like 1 minute of max effort. Give me a PR for your shoulder CAR. Personal record. Very nice. Keep breathing, keep moving. You're halfway. If you've been saving any effort that you could spend here, spend it now. This is your last hard thing for this class, last bit of shoulder training. You got it, team. 15 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Yeah, perfect. The other cue I often use in class is for these honest minute of tough shoulder CARs, it should feel like if I messed up the clock and said, okay, just kidding, give me an extra 10 seconds, there would be a mutiny in the room. Yeah? So that's how hard you're working. Here we go, setting up for our new side. Give me a good brace through your midsection. Make your knees and toes heavy. Make your right arm heavy into the ground such that your left arm is ready to move, and begin. Nice, reaching in all directions, carving through very dense air, the densest substance you could imagine moving through. You got this, team. Keep carving, fighting for a millimeter more of range in every single direction. You're past the halfway point. Only 20 seconds left. You've been holding anything in reserve for this shoulder. Spend it now. This is it. Last 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Thank you so much for your effort at home. Enjoy. Repeating this class is definitely a good one to come back to and try again in a little bit. And we will see you soon.